And I, once again, have a lot of great information to share with you regarding our program here at Johnson. So for those of you who may be in the beginning stages of the MBA search and of course, trying to figure out, what available options you may have out there, we do have our traditional 2-year MBA program, our 1-year MBA program, our Johnson Cornell Tech MBA program, as well as a variety of executive programs that we offer. Now, I get asked the question all the time, what are the differences between the 1-year, 2-year Cornell Tech itself? With the 2-year program in particular, the size, of course, is a little bit different, where our incoming class last year was 292 students. Our 1-year program in Ithaca was approximately 60 students in the class, and then the Johnson Cornell Tech MBA program is approximately 80 in the program. Each program, of course, is very unique, and it is very intentional as far as the type of student that we are looking for. For myself, and just to be clear, as far as this presentation, I do oversee our residential programs for the 1-year and the 2-year program in Ithaca. The Cornell Tech program does have another admissions team in New York City, but of course we collaborate with them. If you are looking at that Cornell Tech MBA program, it does help students bridge the gap between business as well as the digital economy. So if you are looking, for that type of experience, that is something that the Cornell Tech MBA program will give you, throughout your experience. Whereas the 1-year, 2-year program, the 1-year program, of course, is done at an accelerated pace, which begins in May, ends the following May. And then our 2-year residential program, once again, our traditional program, which is your standard 2-year program, which we will talk about a little bit more about in 1 second. But before we talk about the 1-year, 2-year program, I want to say why Cornell. So of course, there are a lot of great programs out there. I know that you have many options to think about, various schools. But one of the things that you want to keep in mind is that you are getting that worldwide recognition. You are getting that Ivy League brand behind your name. So, when I think about, what, candidates, our students, our alums, employers are saying, they do talk about how prepared our students are, of course, in the recruiting side of things, their knowledge base, but also how they bring unique and different ideas to the workplace. But also with our program, we do give you that opportunity to explore other top ranked programs out there. So one of the things that I always say that I love about our program is the flexibility that we have. You know that with the MBA, you're going to get a general management MBA, but once again, we give you that opportunity to take advantage of other programs and courses from other departments and other programs here at Cornell. So if you're interested in taking law courses, exploring the hotel school, the College of Engineering, just to name a few, we give you that opportunity. But also, you are learning from the best and the brightest, some of the world-renowned faculty members who are experts in the field, who are coming to campus, and moving to Ithaca or even to our Cornell Tech campus to teach some of the best and the brightest. They use their networks, they use their experience to really be able to help our program move forward. And of course, our strong alumni network and our presence. If you haven't had the opportunity to connect with a Johnson alum or a Cornell alum, please do. And this is what I would challenge you to go through, or challenge you to do as you go through this process, is to connect with our students and to connect with our alums, as they love to talk about their experience. They love to tell you about what the core it was like or what recruiting was like, but ultimately to make sure that you are putting your best foot forward and ultimately be a great fit for our program. And then the last thing that I'll say about why Cornell is our location. I believe that our location is a hidden gem, located right in central New York. We're about 4 hours north of New York City. And it is such an amazing college town, right in the heart of wine country here in New York State, but also, a wonderful place to raise your family and, of course, get a great education. So let's take a step back. I know that, there are questions, of course, about the 1-year and 2-year program, the differences between the program itself. With the 2-year program, of course, pretty standard, like any other program out there. That first semester of your first year are your core courses that you will experience. So as you can see right here, there are your standard courses like accounting and finance and marketing. There's operation type courses. And you're going to go through that with your core team. Your core team is your team of about 4 or 5 students that you work with through that entire semester. Once that spring semester rolls around, there are a couple core courses that you're finishing up, but then there is our immersion learning program, which I have a slide on our immersion learning program, but it is something that I believe sets our program apart. Of course, in that summer, right after your first year, is your summer internship. But then when you go into that second year, once again, this is where you'll start seeing the flexibility in your program a little bit more, and being able to take more elective courses, being able to really take more leadership roles and explore more global opportunities. Of course, be mentors to our first year students. But that 2-year program in particular, typically we see those who are looking to make a career switch. There are those who may be earlier on in their career, someone who's looking for 2 years of networking versus, of course, that 1-year program, which is done at an accelerated pace. As I had mentioned, once again, with the 1-year program done at an accelerated pace, it begins in May and it ends the following year, that following May. The one thing that you want to keep in mind for those of you that are interested in the 1-year program, to qualify for the 1-year program, you must have either an advanced degree or there's certain certifications like a CFA or a CPA that will qualify you for that 1-year program. If you are interested in the 1-year program, what I would encourage you to do is go to our website. There is a 1-year eligibility check website. It's going to ask you some basic information to get a good sense on if you qualify for the 1-year program. Our team will review it, and then we will reply back if you do qualify for the 1-year program. So once again, begins in May. You go through that summer of very intense accelerated courses. Most of your courses last about 3 weeks. And then you are rotating in between classes pretty much from the middle of May to the end of July. Once the fall and spring begins, you then join the rising second years from the 2-year MBA program, where you will take more elective courses, of course, participate in various clubs and organizations, and take on leadership roles. So one of the things that we get asked all the time, why the 1-year program, or what type of student typically applies for the 1-year program? For the 1-year program, once again, there is no internship opportunity for the 1-year program versus the 2-year program. So typically we'll say someone who's either advanced in their career, someone who, maybe it's an entrepreneur, or maybe they are sponsored by their company and they're looking for a quick MBA from an accredited institution out there. We see a lot of students who are doing dual degrees that align with our 1-year program. So as you go through this process, once again, I would really, really encourage you to reach out to our team, reach out to students who've done both the 1-year, 2-year program to really find out which program is the best fit for you. So of course, I do see some questions that are coming through, and please know that we will get to those questions at the end, but please keep them coming. I do want to make sure that I get to all your questions, that you have. So as I had mentioned before, as I think about some of the things that make Johnson unique, when I think about our program in particular, I do think of our immersion learning program, and that immersion happens in the spring semester of your first year if you're applying to the 2-year residential program. And if you're applying to the 1-year program, it will happen in the spring semester, pretty much the semester right before you graduate. But the immersion is an opportunity for our students to really be immersed, of course, into their into a particular career path that really gives you hands-on experience and the opportunity to take advanced level courses within your field. And that's one of the things that you're going to learn about Johnson, is that we really focus on performance learning. we really want to make sure that you are walking away with an overall experience of, having a better understanding of the industry. Especially if you're a career switcher, I'm sure there's a lot that you're trying to learn and to catch up on compared to your classmates who may have spent, years in that industry. But this immersion gives you that opportunity of, getting that hands-on experience and working with business professionals and executives, and company visits. The immersion itself is really designed, of course, for the 2-year program in particular, for you to really hit the ground running when it comes to your internship itself. So, once again, for someone who may be a career switcher, then to go through the immersion experience, that hands-on experience, advanced level courses, feedback from experts in the field, so that once you hit, once you get into your internship, you're hitting the ground running. It's something that's really exciting and something that, really sets our program apart. As I started thinking about the various immersions that we do offer, as you can see here on this list, there is, just to name a few, is a strategic product and marketing immersion. There's a corporate finance immersion. There's an operations immersion, digital technology immersion, investment banking immersion. There's even a customized immersion. So if there's a specific industry or area that you're looking to, go into, you can really customize your program the way you see best fit. Just to kind of give you an example of what happens within the immersion. So say, for example, you're interested in the investment banking immersion. You are, of course, once again, you are actually working on, various transactions with, various, companies and firms. You're spending a week on Wall Street. You're meeting with alums, who are in the investment banking industry. You're meeting with top executives. You're doing a lot of networking, so that once again, once you get to that internship, you can hit the ground running. Also, when I think about our program, I think about our, once again, our Cornell Tech MBA program, but how our students, our 1-year and our 2-year residential students in Ithaca can take advantage of those opportunities. So there are 2 opportunities that you can take advantage of. There are the New York City elective courses, and then there is the New York City intensives. All right. So the New York City elective courses, they're weekend courses that happen in the fall semester. And these courses will typically happen during on a Friday and Saturday. This will, of course, require you to travel between Ithaca and New York, in that fall semester, back and forth, of course, spending the most of the week in Ithaca. But it gives you that opportunity of really taking elective courses focusing on cryptocurrency, for example, design thinking, cloud computing, as you can see, some of the electives that are here. But then there's also the opportunity to take advantage of one of 2 intensives. So there are 2 7-week intensives that happen in the spring semester, where you have that opportunity of actually living in New York City for those 7 weeks, really working with the Cornell Tech students. And the 2 intensives that you have are really the FinTech intensive and the digital marketing intensive. So the way I look at it is that you have the best of both worlds as you go through your overall experience. We want you, especially if FinTech or digital marketing really pertains to, the work that you're looking to do, it makes sense for you to take advantage of one of these opportunities. Once again, the New York City electives are done once again in the fall, but then the intensives are done in the spring semester. And once again, that spring intensive, it gives you the opportunity of being in New York for those 7 weeks. After those 7 weeks, you have that opportunity of finishing your remaining weeks back in Ithaca, home base, or continuing to take elective courses in New York City. So to make it more of a full semester. So as we start thinking about our program, once again, not only do you have a great institution, great academics, great faculty, we also want you to walk away really developing as a leader. And there are many, many ways, many opportunities that we, make sure that our students are able to really develop as a leader. As I had mentioned before, I believe in the slide talking about the 2-year program, our students go through the core. So there's the core team practicum, or leading teams practicum with your core teams experience. Once again, your core team is made up of about 4 or 5 students from various backgrounds. So the way I like to think about it is, you may have an investment banker, you may have a lawyer, you may have an MD and an engineer in a group. The way that everyone thinks of business problems and solutions may be completely different, but it is your opportunity to work together as a team to come up with, the best solution to various business problems itself. I always say too that, talking with our students, either they love their core team experience, but also they can find their core team experience to be a challenge. But that's business, and it's ultimately working through those, those experiences, those opportunities, with your team, and come to ultimately, once again, come up with the best solution possible. There's our Johnson Outdoor Experience, which typically happens during orientation, where we have our students, come together for a full day outdoor experience, focusing on leadership within your core team, as well as with the entire, incoming class. Definitely a fun day to really kick your MBA experience off with. But then there's various leadership expeditions that we have. There's an expedition to Patagonia, which is a 10-day camping trip where you're pretty much dropped off at point A and picked up at point B after 10 days. There's a 72-hour trip to Quantico, working with the U.S. Marines, focusing on what leadership looks like within the military, just to name a couple expeditions. But then there's also opportunities of, being a leader within our Johnson Board Fellows, which is sitting on a local nonprofit in the Ithaca area as a non-voting member. There's our Johnson Leadership Fellows, who are mentors to our, they're second-year students who are mentors to our incoming MBAs as they go through their core team experience, and also to help them navigate their first year in the MBA itself. So, once again, there are many opportunities. There's so many opportunities that are available. But once again, this is just to name a few. Once again, as you go through this process, please make sure that you connect with our students to also learn how Johnson really prepares them to be a successful leader. So just wanted to toss out some brief numbers here. We know that, once again, if you're looking to get a great job, these are our most recent stats regarding our career management side of things. The Career Management Center is made up of 10 dedicated professionals, and who are most of them are coming from the industries that you may be looking to go into, and of course, help prepare you from the time that you get ready to enroll into the program. So of course, for those who are entering for this upcoming year, they've been working with the Career Management Center for quite some time now, and they really guide you, throughout your 2 years or even your year in the program. But they also, even after you graduate, if there is, an opportunity for you to, apply for another position, or maybe you lose your job, there's also a dedicated staff member who also helps out along. So, but once again, these are just some numbers as far as what the average base salary is, as well as a signing bonus. Of course, here's just some of our top employers that come to Johnson to recruit. Of course, the list is a lot longer than this. If you haven't already, what I would encourage you to do is explore our website. That really highlights a lot more on, one, where our students are interning, but also where they're getting full-time offers. And of course, keep in mind, not everyone is looking to go consulting. Not everyone's looking to go finance or marketing and CPG, work for CPG companies. Our students are going in so many different areas, whether it's education, whether it's returning to the military, whether they're looking to be an entrepreneur, and the list, of course, goes on. this is one of the best things that I would say about my job and the class that we have. I believe that we do a great job of really building onto a very unique class, because, once again, if you are coming from the healthcare field, or if you are coming from, the nonprofit sector, your thought process is going to be a little bit different. You're going to be able to add value to the classroom. And that's what we believe is really important as we are developing our class, but then once again, as candidates go through the recruiting process. Last thing that I will say too is, if you do have any questions regarding the career management side of things, our career management center is always willing to talk to prospective candidates about what recruiting looks like at Johnson. So, feel free to reach out. Just to kind of show you some fun pictures here at Johnson. At Johnson, we have, over 70 different clubs and organizations, anything from cultural organizations to organizations that focuses on your career path. There's a wine club, a beer club, there's a club for your pets, you name it, there's something for all of our students. And if there's something that we don't have that you are interested in, this is a great opportunity for you to start that. Once again, I'm really proud of the student body that we have here at Johnson. But once again, there are people who are, they want to talk to you. They want you to learn more about our community, what makes us unique, and then once again, how you see yourself being a good fit within the program. All right, so I have a couple more slides where, of course, I do want to talk a little bit more about the admissions process. And then, of course, I see the questions that are coming in. So I really look forward to answering those questions as well. We actually just announced our application deadlines. This is actually my first presentation where I'm announcing our deadlines. But one of the things that you want to keep in mind is, these are deadlines for our 1-year and our 2-year program. For anyone who's interested in the Cornell Tech MBA program, the Cornell Tech MBA application deadlines also align with our 1-year MBA program as well. So as you can see right here, if you are interested in the 1-year program, there is an early action or a priority round that we have in September. Anyone who applies in that early round for the 1-year program in particular, you are guaranteed an interview for that. If you apply anytime after the September round, so our October or January round for the 1-year program, specifically, of course, the interview process is invite only. And then for the 1-year program, being that it starts in May, we do accept applications on a rolling basis through March 8th. And so once again, just to make that clear, this is strictly for the 1-year program. For the 2-year program in particular, we have an application round in October. There is a January round, and then there's also an April round. So we have 3 rounds this year. There is another way of applying to business school, which is through the consortium, which is another avenue of applying once again, which supports our underrepresented population and their mission to support an underrepresented population towards business and business education. They have 2 application rounds. That's October 15th and January 5th. Just to make it that clear, that is only for US citizens, of course, who support the mission. But of course, our standard rounds are October 12th, January 5th, and then April 12th. To kind of give you a quick overview of what our application looks like for this upcoming year. So of course, there is an application fee of $200. To apply to business school. Of course, if there's any current Cornell students who are on the call, we of course will waive that $200 fee. But as we look at your application, what I will say, some of the things that are very important to us is the first thing I'm going to say is really your resume, your work experience. When reading an application, this is probably the first thing that I will look at is your resume. I want to see, more about your career progression, how you've made an impact within your organization, how you've taken on initiative or leadership roles itself. And when I say career progression too, I don't mean just, a title increase. I know that some companies, may not promote like other companies. But once again, you should still be able to really highlight, your accomplishments, your achievements in that resume itself. So that's the first thing that I'm going to look at. From the written side of things, we do have our goals statement plus one required essay. So this is something that's new this year. In the past, we've had our goal statement, of course, outlining your short-term and your long-term goals. Plus, we used to have our back of the resume essay, which we have removed the back of the resume essay for this application cycle, but we are keeping the impact essay. And here at Johnson, we really do value those who make an impact. And I think this is something that makes our program unique, and our program, special. And it's really important that you're able to, outline how you see yourself making that impact. Another essay, a second optional essay, is really, really an optional essay highlighting any red flags that you may have throughout your application. So if there's anything that you want to briefly explain, use that optional essay to really explain. We do ask for a list of activities, anything from your undergraduate work up to post undergrad, anything that you're doing in the community, something that, once again, we want to see those who are making an impact, but we also understand that not everyone will have that opportunity to, volunteer or be a part of various activities for multiple reasons. Once again, just use that optional essay, or of course, if invited for an interview, that's your opportunity to explain further. We do ask for one letter of professional recommendation, a second one as optional. I always say this all the time, but be very thoughtful on who writes that letter of recommendation for you, because those are also really important, to see how your employer really values you and see, their thoughts on what your work ethic looks like, or maybe even some key, projects or, even accomplishments that you've been able to, fulfill throughout your time. Transcripts, of course, academic transcripts are very key. It gives us a good sense of how well you've done academically throughout your undergraduate or postgraduate work. And then the tests. With the tests, so we are allowing students to either submit a GMAT or a GRE, or you have the opportunity of submitting a request for a test waiver. So just to give you kind of a sense of what our test waiver process looks like, in your application this year, you will notice that there is a question asking you if you would like to be considered for a test waiver. There is a 100-word personal statement that you will complete, pretty much indicating why you're asking for the waiver, but then also answering a question on how you see yourself flourishing throughout our MBA program. I will say that anyone who's asking for the test waiver itself, I want you to be very thoughtful on it. If you can clearly demonstrate analytical and quantitative work, whether it's through your academics, whether it's through your work experience, you may be someone that should consider the test waiver once again, if that's in something that you're interested in. If you are coming from, a background where you struggle, don't show the quantitative side of things, the test may be helpful for you in that review process. So if you have further questions about it, of course, you can feel free to reach out to me personally about the waiver itself. But once again, be very thoughtful as far as if you are requesting the waiver or not. A couple other last things before we jump into some questions. Of course, for those of you, if English is not your native language, or you come from an institution where the median of instruction was not conducted in English, we will request TOEFL or IELTS. And then the last thing, of course, is the interview. That's your opportunity to really tell your story, to make yourself shine, to address anything that you feel you really want the committee to know, or even to really demonstrate your true interest in the program. So that is a little bit about our application itself. Our application will launch the beginning of August. So, throughout this time right now, this is that opportunity for you to really be able to, really prepare, learn more about us, and move forward that way. All right. So that is all that I have. I know that I see a lot of questions that are coming through, and of course, once again, thank you all so much. Cecilia, I will let you go ahead and ask or let me know what questions have come through, but I'm really excited to answer them.
Well, thank you so much, Eddie. Wonderful presentation, insights, everything. So yes, we do have a couple of questions. Someone is asking that my bachelor was in accounting and work as an accountant. Can some accounting or finance classes be waived from the core?
Yeah, great question. Absolutely, yes. So, for if you have a background as an accountant, and of course, certain, credentials, you are able to, be exempt from some of the core courses that we have here at Johnson. Once a student is accepted and as it gets closer to the start of the program, our registrar's team, our student services team will reach out to let students know what that process looks like as far as waiving those courses. Of course, showing certain certifications, or some students may actually take an exam to exempt out, but once again, it is an option for you.
Okay, perfect. A couple of questions. Does the one-year program provide access to an OPT?
It does. Yes, it does.
Yeah, good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Another question about STEM.
Yes.
Is it possible to get a dual degree with finance and accounting? And is it STEM? And do you have STEM programs in the MBA?
Yes, and I'm sorry, of course, out of all things that I didn't even mention that and highlight that, but yes, we are a STEM designated program between our 1 year, our 2 year, and our Cornell Tech MBA program. And of course, you do have that opportunity of being STEM designated. As far as a dual degree, of course, for the candidate who entered in that question, there are specific, or what we consider dual degrees. There are specific dual degrees that we have agreements with other programs here at Cornell itself. If you actually go onto our website, you can see what is considered a dual degree itself. But if you are looking to kind of more specialize in a specific area, yes, you can, do more of a focus in that area. But once again, when it comes to dual degree, if you go onto our website, you can see exactly what we consider a dual degree, but also feel free to reach out to me directly so that I can elaborate a little bit further. Okay.
We have a question that it's about the GMAT waiver. You mentioned the GMAT waiver for students who had like a very analytical or quantitative background, but actually there's a question about COVID related. The COVID situation is improving significantly in the US, but in Latin America, we are struggling very much. And sometimes it's very difficult to take the test. I mean, there are no testing centers right now. Could that be considered for a GMAT waiver?
Absolutely, yes. And this is what I would encourage you to do is, as you go through that the application, one, of course, our heart goes out to you know, to everyone who was affected. And I know how affected Latin America has really been. So one, we are aware of that. We're sensitive to that. So I would say make sure that you indicate that in your essay. But two, you know, once again, you really want to still be able to demonstrate somehow, you know, whether it is highlighting your coursework from undergrad, whether it is highlighting, you know, analytical or quantitative work from your resume, or maybe it's your recommender really highlighting, you know, the work that you've done. Just to give you some examples, you know, make sure that you highlight that. We know that, you know, this last year has been a challenging year, but we also understand that the GMAT and the GRE are not the overall indication of how someone will do well in the program. There are, you know, people who are extremely successful, you know, whether they take the test or not. So, you know, we're just also trying to be very sensitive to that.
Okay, thank you. There's a question about the percentage of foreigners that get the MBA at Cornell and manage to stay in the US after graduation, and if they are visa sponsored, and also about recruiting. How often do companies come to recruit at Cornell? Yeah,
absolutely. So some of this I will do my best, of course, to answer. On some of this, of course, I think the Career Management Center would probably be best to answer this. As far as just to kind of give you a percentage, we're about 35% or so with international students, one in the class. To give you a solid answer as far as those who actually stay in the US, unfortunately, I just don't have that number. I'm sure that it changes year to year, but of course you can feel free to you know, follow up so that I can connect with the Career Management Center to get an answer, you know, for you. You know, I will say, you know, from the recruiting side, we see companies are constantly on campus to recruit. Of course, last year was a different year because of COVID, but this is also a way that our alums are looking to give back. They represent their companies in the recruiting process. They do informationals. They, you know, are part of the interview process. They go to various conferences where there are, you know, various companies that are representing their companies that are hiring at these conferences. So, you know, once again, from that side, you're going to consistently see companies on campus. But also, I think that companies really have a good sense of the quality of our students. So they are, of course, are trying to hire. But as far as the sponsorship question and things like that, please feel free to reach out to me directly.
Perfect. I have a question here. Is there an incubator, startup, accelerator service for the MBA students or alumni?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I would encourage you to do, especially for any entrepreneurs out there are many options for you. And, you know, whether it is our BR Ventures, which is a student run, fund, whether it is our entrepreneurship and clubs, whether it's Rev, which is our, incubator, at Cornell. The list goes on. There are many opportunities for our students, one, not only to be able to network, to find funding, to find business partners, you name it, on campus. The one thing that you want to keep in mind, if you are looking to get into more of the startup space itself, not only do you have the Johnson community from the MBA side, you have the Cornell community as well. And that's something that, we're really proud of.
Okay, thank you. Are the classes and activities back to normal? And I have another question that I saw. Do you accept campus visits for fully vaccinated candidates?
Great question. So we are moving back to in person for this fall. Our students must be vaccinated, of course, to return to the classroom, unless there are medical reasons, and of course, for religious reasons that way. So we're really excited to see our students again, to welcome everyone back. As far as for visits, so we haven't really officially launched our visit program at Johnson, the business school in particular. Of course, if you decide to come to Cornell, we do ask that, you come and still abide by Cornell's COVID-19, protocols out there. But for Johnson specific visitations, we are still working on what that looks like. So I would just say stay tuned for that.
Okay, we have a couple of questions about the dual degree programs and also the study abroad option that you mentioned. Can you elaborate on those?
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as the dual degree itself, there's a variety of options for you. So there's a 3-year and a 4-year JD MBA program. There's an MD in an MBA program. There's an MEng in an MBA program. There is a Master's in Health Administration in the MBA. Once again, if you go onto our website, you'll be able to see which dual degrees are offered. But also it's very important as you look at those dual degrees to have an understanding of which one correlates with the 1-year program and which one coincides with the 2-year program itself. But with the dual degree itself, it gives you that opportunity to really expand your networks, to get 2 amazing degrees within a short period of time, and really to really prepare yourself both personally and professionally within that area of interest. As far as study abroad opportunities, I will say, of course, because of COVID, we've put a halt to that right now, but there are over 30 different partnerships that we do have with various clubs and organizations, various different schools, around the world where you have that opportunity to study abroad. But once again, hopefully this year we're able to get up and running with that again.
Okay, we have questions about admissions. When is it better to apply? First round, second round? Is there a difference about getting accepted on the January round versus the October round? Inside information.
Yeah, that's always a great question, and everyone's like, what is it? What do I need to do?
Tell me the secret.
Yeah, the secret. Honestly, this is honest truth behind it is apply when you're ready. Like, my recommendation is to definitely apply by the January round, because typically once you get to the April round, let's say, that's where you can have limited to no spots. But then 2, if funding is important to you, that's where scholarship can be gone. So once again, I would encourage you, to apply definitely by the January round. In my opinion, it doesn't matter October or January. Just make sure that you submit the best application possible. If that means that you really want to apply in October, but you want to take the GMAT over again, you need a little bit of extra time to test or study for that test, I'm going to say hold off, prepare, and then submit that application in January. Once again, those are just examples that I'm using. But also, if you know that you're ready to go in October and you have a strong application, I'm also going to encourage you to apply in October. But once again, just give yourself enough time to really apply and submit the best application.
Eddie, unfortunately, we have to go. We are over the time. We have tons of questions, so perhaps if you can send them via email. I'm going to write my email on the chat, and I'll probably pass them on to Eddie. Thank you for joining us. For those of you who only registered for this presentation, I would encourage you to register for Premium MBA Contact, the full event. We have a series of presentation. We have to go because we have a presentation with University of Rochester, but on the 10th we'll have admission panels, the opportunity for you to answer all these admissions questions with the people like Eddie, who are extremely knowledgeable and open about it. And we'll have alumni panels. You can ask them anything that you want to know. It's going to be in Spanish, and then we'll have one-on-one informative interviews. So if you register your CV, you might have the chance to speak one-on-one with the admissions director. So I'm going to write my email.
And once again, please feel free to reach out. Our team is, we love the work that we do. We love to connect with you all, but I will say, I do wish you all the best too in your MBA journey, and hope to see your application here at Cornell.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I hope to see you soon.
Good to see you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.